For the longest time, but not that long, I had this little guy. I had some great times with Notebook and I, but I feel like it's time to move on. Let's go ahead. I have been in a bit of a journal obsession bubble. I've set up my financial journal, reading journal, 5-year journal, and I'm just loving them so much. Some of you might have probably seen me setting up and using fitness journal not that long ago, and it was working quite well for me. But I bought a few of these notebooks during Black Friday, and one day it just occurred to me that I should set up a new fitness journal as well. You know, new year, new me kind of thing. I liked a few good bits of my last journal. It had loads of space for habits and reflection and things like that. But it's just the customization that's gotten me to switch. There's nothing quite like creating your own layouts. I'm not setting too many trackers for this one as opposed to literally every other journal I've had. I think it'll be best if I break it down weekly and monthly, and that I'm not really putting myself in those big picture frames as it can sometimes be a little overwhelming and also can change month to month, which is most importantly. I glued the first page together with the cover page as it was a bit of an odd one anyway. Also, as my vision board from the previous fitness journal still stands, I thought it would be a shame to waste it, so I just trimmed it down and stuck it here as my cover. Definitely saves me some arranging time on Canva. Next page I'm making is a weight tracker, and I thought the most fun way to arrange it would be in the graph kind of manner, as you could see the fluctuations a bit better this way. I've done a few calculations, some journal maths that I'm unfortunately having to embrace during these setups. Effectively, as this is a 128 page journal, I wanted it to last me roughly until mid-September, as that's when my next big fitness challenge is, and that's what I'm training for and focusing on the most, so kind of like my goal at the end of the journal. I've added the weeks at the bottom, and since there's still a little bit of space left, I thought it would be fun to add a strip of washi, and I've used Caitlin Plant's roller stickers throughout this setup. I bought them as printables, and the best thing about that is that you can actually print as many as you want, so there's none of that hoarding feeling. Next page I wanted to make kind of like a year in pixels, but for my challenge, so effectively all of the journal. I spent way too much time calculating the dots and seeing what I can add here. There's 240 days left before the challenge, which is a nice number to divide, but still took me way too long. Initially I wanted a square per day for the zig marker dots, so I made a tiny tracker. I added all the same decorations as my weight tracker and wrote down Apex for the Apex challenge here. That's the challenge in September. At the top there's a space for my year in pixels key. As I've mentioned, I wanted to do zig markers as I do literally everywhere. I ultimately decided against it as firstly, these are quite mild colors, and secondly, it just so happened to be the same colors as my other fitness journal, so I thought I'll change it up and just use the little swirls using the basic gel pens. Could I be getting bored of the zig markers? That's all I wanted for my big picture stuff, not a lot, but also I thought it'd be fun to set up monthly and weekly pages with you guys as well. For the monthly page, I think I'll change the deco every month, but for the first month, I wanted to just continue with these colors. For this journal as well, I wanted to consider 4 weeks as a month rather than a full calendar month with all the dates. I think it'll make it much easier to set up and track. For the monthly page, I wanted to add some space for my progress pictures, which I added at the bottom. I briefly considered to have pages for the progress pictures at the start as it would be easier to compare them, but I didn't quite know how many months this journal will have, so I thought this will do. I also added a space for the before and after measurements and a couple of 4-week blocks for tracking. The left one will be for symptoms, which is just basic feeling good, feeling low energy, and a headache. I think these are the ones that are associated with diet and good nutrition the most. The right one will be a habit tracker for the main goal. So say if your main goal is to go for a walk every day, I would just add a little dot or color it in if I've completed it. For my weekly setup, I wanted to have space for my workout trackers. I would always use monthly or even bigger workout trackers, but sometimes I want to do 2 workouts, like a run and a stretching session in a day. I thought if I added space for all of the workouts I wanted to complete in a week, it'd be easier for me, kind of less restricting, and I can reevaluate every week as well. I've also cut out a habit tracker for my previous journal and stuck it here as well. I didn't want to draw it again. I think the yellow page looks quite cute on my white page, but also there is a part of me that likes the cohesiveness of white as well. So we'll see if I continue doing this or draw my own little circles, although that's a bit more bothersome. There's also a space for a meal plan here to get a rough idea for my breakfast, lunch and dinners for the week. I usually just meal prep once. And I also wanted to add reflection of what went good and what went wrong, which is something that was missing from my previous journal, at least not in the way I wanted it anyway. Finally, for a bit of fun, I added some stats to notes like average calories and steps. I do love my stats very much, and I thought it would be so fun to track this data and even maybe use it in some way in the future. For my daily view, it's fairly simple. I just drew a few boxes to add my meals and my workouts. That's also something I wanted to improve my previous journal, as the meal part was kind of a little bit smaller and I had to cram all the meals in sometimes. So in this journal, I can effectively do with this space what I want, which is great, a bit more flexibility. I love this journal already. I was on the fence about switching, but I can already see how much joy it is gonna bring me. Do you have a fitness journal? What's working for you? Let me know in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see another setup, you can watch this video here, one of the previous fitness journals. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you in my next craft session.